Quest 6, Air Today, Gone Tomorrow. This is the game many people describe as the best title of the King's Quest series and Sierra's magnum opus, and for good reason. I love this game. I love this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and everything. I love everything about this game. The game has an extremely simple premise that I can describe in just a few sentences. Alexander meets a beautiful princess, falls in love, and stalks her to her homeland where she is being held captive by an evil vizier who wants to marry her and take full control over the land of the Green Isles. Alexander must save his true love, who he has known for maybe a couple minutes from the previous game, and learn the vizier's true motives. It was designed by Roberta Williams and Jane Jensen, the latter known for writing Gabriel Knight, and even though this game is extremely tropey story-wise, the emphasis is more focused on the journey and exploration. If you're gonna have a tropey game, you better be damn sure it's executed well, and King's Quest VI really is top tier. In this opening sequence, we see Alexander of King's Quest III fame obsessing over Princess Cassima. His mother, Valenice, comes to console him, and my god, what is wrong with her waist?
You've got to pull yourself together. After all, you only met her that once.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for addressing this game. See, Valenice gets it. I don't get why nobody else gets it. They met for like 2 seconds.
My lady, I am deeply in your debt, and I will make it up to you. With your permission, I'd like to travel to the land of the Green Isles to see you.
Alexander decides to take a ship and travel to the fictional land of the Green Isles, which composes of a few different islands. He ends up crashing on this island, which is truly a coincidence. That's the Isle of the Crown, where Cassima lives. He goes to the castle, only to find out that an evil vizier named Abdul al-Hazred, and yes, he is named after the author of the Necronomicon, plans to marry Cassima and take over the islands. He's quite skeezy.
Before we parted, she gave me an invitation to visit.
I have no doubt she did exactly that at the time, Prince Alexander. However, things have greatly changed for Cassima since her ordeal in Mordak's castle.
Did you mean to say Mordak the Owl? Making things even worse is the fact that Cassima's parents, the king and queen, died of mysterious causes. My ass. Now she resides in the castle tower all alone. This music, it's making me want to do things. It makes me want to sing! Girl in the tower, I'm reaching out. Please tell me what to do. So romantic. Alexander doesn't buy the vizier's cock-blocking bullshit and decides to explore the isle in hopes of finding a way to help his beloved Cassima. The vizier is already suspicious of you though and sends his genie, Shamir Shamazel, to follow you. Shamir! Shamazel! Hassan Pfeffer Incorporated! And might I add that this genie is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. He's constantly disguising himself as different people, trying to convince Alexander to do things that will ultimately kill him, but he's always so obvious.
The winged ones who live on this island have the power of flight. You could have it too, if you'd only eat a berry from this magical flying nightshade bush.
Wow, he is tripping balls. Alexander learns that the ferry that goes to the other islands is no longer running due to the leaders of said islands holding grudges against each other, resulting in hostility. Suspicious. But Alexander is able to travel between the islands via magic map, and trust me, you'll be reminded of this map every time you use it. Get ready to be prompted every time with...
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
Every single time. I usually cut it off early and end it with something naughty.
Alexander pulls out his
dick.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
On his dick. Sorry. The islands are the best part of this game. They are so fun to travel to and investigate. You begin on the Isle of the Crown, which has an Arabian Nights motif. The Isle of Wonder, which is a personal favorite, takes inspiration from Alice in Wonderland. Everything is personified here, including this dogwood tree, bump on a log, stick in the mud, rotten tomato, and this black widow spider. Hello, Miss Spider.
Hiya, gorgeous. Oh, what a luscious-looking hunk of flesh you are.
Oh my. There's also an area called Chessboard Land which you can't explore, but I always wish you could. Even though it looks kinda barren, doesn't it? There's literally nothing in Chessboard Land. It's like a desert of checkers. But still, as a youngin', I was super intrigued. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain borrows themes from various kinds of mythology. To get to the top, you have to solve the Cliffs of Logic, which serves as the game's copy protection. You'll need the manual to solve the riddles chiseled into the side of the mountain. I like doing this.
Oh no, Alexander loses his balance.
What? Ow! Hey!
The Isle of the Beast is inspired by Beauty and the Beast. At one point you'll need to find the Beast his true love. Huh, Sierra sure did have a knack for framing their games around what was popular at the time, didn't they? The Isle of the Crown sure does resemble Aladdin, with the Wazir having a serious Jafar vibe going on, and Beauty and the Beast was released right before the production of this game. Not to mention the main character, Alexander, is played by Robbie Benson, voice of the Beast. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. There's also a few other areas you learn about later, like the Isle of the Mists, which is inhabited by a tribe of druids, and my personal favorite, the Land of the Dead. The Land of the Dead is an extremely brooding area with pirate zombies, for some reason. Everything is really grim and depressing here, and you even get to speak with Casima's dead parents, who you find out have been brutally murdered by the Wazir.
My poor husband will never rest while our murder goes unavenged, and our daughter is in danger.
I came to take you back with me. Your people are still loyal to you. They need to know about the Wazir.
You even get to challenge Death himself, who holds up the entire Land of the Dead with a crown constructed out of misery and sadness.
Who are you to challenge Death?
Nah, Death isn't that bad. Look, there's happy dancing and stuff. Whee! I think a really neat thing is that when you die in-game, the end screen shows Alexander walking through the Land of the Dead's gates. It's awesome that you can go there while you're alive and see the same screen. I think that is a brilliant touch. After exploring the islands, you come to learn, as though you really needed to, that Abdul al-Hazred is in fact evil and stole precious items from each of the islands so that they would blame each other and feud. Your only hope is to infiltrate the castle to save Casima, whom you find locked up in her room.
Alexander looks with longing at the fair Casima.
If only this hole in the wall were just a little bit lower. Gameplay-wise, this is your typical point-and-click style adventure game with inventory object puzzles. The puzzles really do vary in difficulty. Some are extremely easy, and some will end in a fail state. Here's a puzzle I messed up when I was young. You need swamp ooze. When you try to get some, Stick in the Mud will inform you that...
That's not swamp ooze! That's swamp muck!
I decide to throw my good buddy Rotten Tomato at him.
Help! Help! I'm melting!
Uh-oh.
As you can see, Alexander can't throw for shit, misses, and Rotten Tomato fucking drowns. Great, I murdered a tomato. Alexander, you are a bad person and you should feel bad. On top of that, I got no swamp ooze, which I absolutely needed to progress. I didn't understand that you needed to give the tomato to Bump on a Log, who would throw the tomato for you. In my defense, that's bullshit. How does he suddenly sprout arms? He didn't have those before. When Bump on a Log throws the tomato, he hits Stick in the Mud, who retaliates by throwing swamp ooze at him, and that's how you acquire it. I was stuck on that puzzle for a long time. I actually had to write a letter to Sierra's hint team and wait weeks for the answer to come via snail mail. Ugh. The art for this game is simply outstanding. Everything feels very grand and whimsical. The game was animated using a very basic form of rotoscoping and thus had actors and actresses performing the characters' actions. The voice acting ranges from really good to really goofy. Robbie Benson performs the role of Alexander pretty well, albeit overly dramatic sometimes.
Casima is in terrible danger. I have proof that this is so. For your princess's sake, you must believe me.
So yeah, Alexander sounds pretty good. The rest of the cast sound like Muppets.
Don't be so rude, Gruff. He's not asking for any secrets.
Strange, my speech is not eloquence I speak with.
I'm old, I'm rotten. Yeah, leave me alone.
My favorite performance is by Chuck McCann as Jalo, the castle's royal jester. His voice is based on Ed Wynn.
Flying flit mice. You must be Prince Alexander.
But the voice that most people remember from this game is that of the narrator, performed by Bill Ratner.
Hoping to cool down the boiling pond, Alexander throws in a head of iceberg lettuce.
He's just so soothing. I can listen to him say anything. It's like listening to ASMR. I get all tingly and relaxed. He's also great at delivering the game's well-crafted puns.
3 spikes and you're out.
Ugh. The game originally came on 9 floppy disks for MS-DOS sans voice acting, but Sierra also released a version on CD for both DOS and Windows, which featured voice acting and some updated graphics, the most notable difference being the character portraits in the Windows version. Now, I actually grew up on the Windows version, which came with my King's Quest collection, so I thought these portraits were pretty awesome. When I booted up the DOS version from GOG, I was like, what? I think most people prefer the original portraits, but come on, look at Jello! Ugh. Something that makes this title unique among the other King's Quest games is that this one has multiple endings and multiple ways to beat the game. Some of the puzzles are completely optional, though I recommend playing the long route if you decide to play. It's much more fulfilling. And another thing that distinguishes this game from its predecessors is the fact that some of the boxes came with a song on CD, Girl in the Tower, which was produced exclusively for it. Those boxes came with a pamphlet that suggested players call their local radio stations and request Girl in the Tower, with the hopes that it would make the song a commercial hit. Not a good idea. Radio stations were being inundated with calls and they actually threatened to sue Sierra.
Zounds!
But despite that, the game was still financially successful. It sold over 400,000 copies in its first week, and it's remained in our hearts ever since. Girl in the tower, I'm reaching out. Please tell me what to do. Girl in the tower, I'm calling out. My heart cries out for you. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video on King's Quest VI. I hope this inspires you to give the game a go, or at least go on YouTube and look up Girl in the Tower. It's a classic. If you want to see a conspiracy video I did on Cedric the Owl from King's Quest V, the prequel to this game, I have it linked in the annotations. If you want to talk King's Quest with me, you can reach me on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, or if you're feeling saucy, you can leave me a comment down below. Thanks again, and see you guys in the next one.